The Patriots enter this draft with way more questions than answers, coming off a season in which they missed the playoffs. Bill Belichick found himself in rare territory of not playing beyond the regular season. And Cam Newton entered the 2020 year without a full camp, dealt with COVID, a shoulder injury. He's back, but by no means is his job safe. 2020 was a season that saw New England fail to win the AFC East for the first time since 2008. In addition to having a postseason streak snapped and the first losing season in 2 decades, our Jeremy St. Louis explains what else is buzzing around the 6-time Super Bowl champ.
One of the bigger mysteries heading into the NFL draft is what the New England Patriots draft plans are.
You're looking for a player that'll fit your style, or maybe you want to adapt your style to that player.
On the surface, it would appear that their greatest need is at quarterback. Due to the excellence of Tom Brady for 2 decades, they haven't drafted a quarterback in round 1 since 1993, when they made Drew Bledsoe the top overall pick. But if they truly are set on taking a quarterback, the odds of any of the quarterbacks part of the Big Five group being around at pick 15 are slim to none. Will the hoodie try to get up to pick 4 and land one? I'm sure the Falcons aren't exactly over-eager to help the Pats, given their recent history. Could they roll the dice and move up to pick 7 with the Detroit Lions and hope their quarterback target is still on the board? Belichick is well aware that if they have any shot of surpassing the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East, he's going to need to get better play out of the quarterback position. Does he believe in Cam Newton more than the public thinks? Nobody's quite sure. But one thing is, the Patriots will be one of the more intriguing teams on draft night starting on April 29th.
And with more, let's welcome in our NFL writer and Patriots reporter Tyler Sullivan to give us an idea of what to expect this week from the Patriots. And so they're sitting right there, mid of the first round in terms of number 15, Tyler. If they do trade up into that top 4, 5 slot, or even top 10, then who would they be targeting, and what would they probably have to give up to move up?
And as we saw in that piece right there, I mean, it's obviously about the quarterbacks. There's really no situation where New England trades up to get anybody other than a quarterback. The one thing that I would give some pushback on is the question of moving up to number 4 with the Atlanta Falcons. As we've seen with the San Francisco 49ers moving up into that top 5, that's probably going to require a couple of future first-round picks along with number 15. I just don't know if Bill Belichick finds the value there in giving up all of those future assets. I think if you're looking for the Patriots to move up, you're looking more into that number 7 overall spot with Detroit, number 10 with the Dallas Cowboys, or maybe even number 11 just outside the top 10 with the New York Giants. That way you can use number 15 and maybe not as many assets to move up to get one of those quarterbacks that you like. And obviously when you're looking at those quarterbacks, I think the guy that you're probably looking at is Justin Fields. He seems like the one that is going to fall into that category. So if the Patriots like what they see from the Ohio State quarterback, the guy that really seems to have his stock trending, even though once upon a time we were looking at him and Trevor Lawrence in the same breath, if he sees potential in this guy, that's a move that I could see them moving up into the back end of the top 10 to get.
All right. I really think that 7, 8, 9, and even what you mentioned, 11 is a very interesting sort of sweet spot for what we'll see on Thursday night. All right. So what if, let's just say for argument's sake, that the Patriots stay at 15? What do you think they target specifically there?
It's interesting because you have to kind of see how the board plays out, right? I mean, if a quarterback falls to you, even if you don't really love them, it's tough to make the case for you not to take them. I don't know how Robert Kraft would feel if there's a quarterback like Justin Fields sitting there. Even if Belichick doesn't really love him, I don't know how you can explain away not taking him at that spot. So you really kind of have to feel out how that board plays out to you. If all those quarterbacks are gone and really, the offensive linemen, Penei Sewell, Rashad Slater, all of those guys start to push the talent down, maybe you're looking at one of the top defensive players in this draft. You could be looking at Horn, Surtain, one of these top corners that could maybe help fill a need that could be a problem in 2022. Again, Stephon Gilmore, we don't know the future of him post-2021. We don't know what's going to happen with J.C. Jackson, who just signed a second-round tender. Those guys' future beyond 2021 is kind of unknown here. So maybe you kind of pivot. Maybe you go into a direction where you don't get a quarterback. Maybe you go corner. Maybe you go defense there. Or maybe you get somebody in the linebacking core. But obviously, outside of quarterback on the offensive side of the ball, you're looking at receivers. If Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, or Jalen Waddle, clearly there's an Alabama connection with both those guys. Bill Belichick and Nick Saban are tight. They know they're going to talk. They're going to give them the inside scoop of what those receivers have in store. If one of those guys are on the board and there's no quarterback, that would be a scenario where I could see them leaning.
All right, so they have to get through this week with all the draft needs that they have to target. And, of course, they were one of the most, if not the most, active in free agency as well. So then my question is on Bill Belichick. What's the level of pressure for him this year? What's the sense, or what are you hearing about his prospects there out in Foxborough?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, you really can't overstate how big this draft is because of what it could mean. I mean, we're coming off of a season where it was the first year of the divorce between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And Tom Brady went to go get a Lombardi, and as we saw, the Patriots had one of the worst seasons in recent memory. And so when you go into a draft like this, I mean, you're talking about it carrying as much weight as it did in 1993 when they were picking Drew Bledsoe. I mean, you're talking about potentially coming away with a quarterback. And from specifically a Bill Belichick standpoint, this has the potential to define the final chapter of his career in New England. If he's able to hit on the quarterback, whether it's getting a guy like Fields or Mac Jones or Trey Lance, or maybe even striking a deal with the San Francisco 49ers and reacquiring Jimmy Garoppolo, if he's able to figure that out and it works, you're talking about him finishing out his career over the next 3 to 5 years with the Patriots in contention. He's able to bring them back to relevancy pretty quickly post Tom Brady. If he doesn't, if they kind of miss on this and they can't figure out that quarterback scenario, well, you're talking about one of the greatest coaches of all time kind of going out in a whimper. And when you compare that to Tom Brady and what he's already been able to do in Tampa, you're going to start to have that question of whether it's fair or unfair. Well, was it more Tom Brady or was it more Bill Belichick? And you know, when you have the stats in front of you and a Lombardi's on one side and not on the other, you're going to have to go with the side that has the hardware.
Yeah, they both got hardware, by the way. So Tom Brady got the Super Bowl and the Lombardi, and for Bill Belichick, got the key to Annapolis. Not the same thing, though, of course, as we talk about Bill Belichick and football. Thanks to Tyler Sullivan breaking it down for us, giving us an idea of the Patriots ahead of the draft. All right, Pick Six Podcast. It's Mock Draft Monday 11.0. So the guys, Will Brinson and company, talk about all 32 first-round selections made in the final pre-draft mock. That includes Ryan Wilson, if you saw there, Trey Lance at number 15, so they might end up getting their quarterback after all.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.